Right then, so we'll have a look at Algorand today because the rest of the market's just terrible. Now, it doesn't mean that the rest of the market is going to keep going down. I know that that seems to be the expectation every time I sort of look around on social media, but Bitcoin has broken down below a certain area. However, supports do exist below, and the first major support that we haven't yet tested in probably ages, actually. In fact, since we broke out from it, is your old 21, your 20 exponential. Sorry, the 21 exponential and the 20 moving average, the centre of your Bollinger Band, the line in the sand, the 65% chance of a bounce kind of area, and that comes in around, well, basically just a dip below $108,000. We've not tagged it yet, all right? It's not been tagged. So, so far the consolidation has been swift, 3 weeks in the making. So 12% down. It's not the end of the world. And Ethereum, well, I mean, Ethereum is could just be getting started in all fairness, But yeah, another close below the all-time high. So this is 3 weeks in a row now. So 1, 2, 3, and obviously the previous all-time high over there. I know what it looks like. Doesn't look very pretty, but if we still reflect on the fact of where we are, 20 moving average responded very nicely to that. And again, 20 yesterday and the 21 today had responded quite nicely. The money flow index is sitting quite low now. I mean, it can obviously go a hell of a lot lower than that, but it's sitting at an area where it could just turn around in dramatic fashion. I'm sort of trying to present a bullish light here. And today I'm just going to talk about Algorand, believe it or not. I am going to speak about Algorand. So, the only reason I talk about these in advance is because these two are generally going to control the market. I mean, you want to watch the live streams for what they're worth. The last live stream, I have to say, I was relatively bullish. But it's turned out not to be the case. So not even those live streams have the magical sweet sauce that can get you rich immediately. But if you do want to join them, there's links in the description below for the Patreon, and we do look at all the altcoins and blah 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 blah. Right. So what we're seeing here is a move down towards a 200 exponential as well. Golden Cross retest, if it were to come down this far, 4,100 effectively. But at the moment, we're still sort of holding above that daily 20, which is, for me, a better place for it to be. Right, so let's move on to the meat of the matter. The Algorand chart, which, is one of the better charts at the moment. And it hasn't been like this for ages. It's generally a pretty poor looking chart. And it can get poor again. Don't worry about that. So we had the first big major rally here, didn't we? Which was tasty. And that was nice. And we consolidated and we've broken out. Similar to how we had this big massive rally from here. And we consolidated and we've broken out. And we're kind of still meandering through the original breakout of this triangle. We first met the target, which was these lows down here, bang, around the 33-cent zone. So without sticking lines across everything, because if we're going to get a breakout this time, there's no point in thinking 33 next, then then we're talking 42, then 48, then 50, then 60, then 68. The targets are all there. I would expect that if we do break out this time, this one needs to break, but then we'll be talking roughly above the 60s, towards 68 would be the top target, based on what it looks like at the moment. But we do have double golden crosses on the daily. We're trending above the 200 simple and exponential. We moved into the golden cross and actually had a bounce that met the halfway target of the consolidation breakout, which is nice. Now, the 4-hourly is not as nice as it was. I took a position on this one, around here, and obviously stopped out now. But what we're looking for, hopefully, would be this double bullish divergence lift us up. We're still green, leading portion of the cloud still green, but we are negative here. So the 4-hourly is a little messy, which is why it does require the rest of the market to allow for this to work out, because it's still positioned in a bullish way on the daily and the weekly, which is the big ones. These are the ones that offer the big moves. Now, if we zoom right in, we can see that we hit the 21 exponential. We had 1, 2, 3 in a row, 4 recently. It's really trying to hold these higher lows on the weekly 21 exponential. That's really what it is trying to do. We don't have any slowing really of momentum outside of the general consolidation trend that we've got here. So I'm kind of quite optimistic about how the high-term timeframes look for Algorand. On the monthly, we're above the 20, the 10, and the 21 again, and looking like a green candle at the moment as well. Could easily run on this one. Easily run on the monthly, and the monthly gives you the targets up here. It's a lot easier to see. Big resistance comes in around these areas, around 68 cents. So if this one does materialize in a pump and we do get some upside and it does continue, all these areas here will break, and the next higher high on this overall structure is about 68 cents. Obviously I'd love to see it break beyond that. One thing we often do need to reference for Algorand's health is XRP, and XRP is on the monthly above all moving averages, all of them, with a view that it might come down to $2.52, but at the moment it's above all of them. On the weekly, you can see the trend line here of resistance still playing to full effect, but we're above all moving averages and getting supported on the 10, with a trend signal in play still. We do need to move up a little bit, but the trend signal's in play. The daily, you can see, obviously we've got this consolidation trend line, which is getting pushed down each way. The 20 moving average is towards the top of that area, so really for a close and a breakout close, you're looking for anywhere above $3.10, probably $3.12 for confidence, and you get continuation straight up to the $3.50 and beyond. And again, the only reason I'm talking about XRP is because it's almost like it paves the way for all those other charts that are similar to it, you know, Algorand, XLM, HBAR, XDC, all those sort of things. They all sort of trend in the shadows basically of XRP. And finally, we see the death cross and the death cross on the 4 hours. The 4 hourlies generally not looking very good on anything at the moment, and we're looking for a break from here. But at the moment, the 4 hourlies are consolidating, and the dailies and the weeklies are offering nothing more than big weekly supports. And so you have to just say, what is it that I'm going to do? Am I going to try it? Why not? You know, a futures trade can give you a decent opportunity to take a position and get a tight stop loss in there in the event that the market does decide to keep going down, because it's not just crypto. Obviously, we see the same sort of behavior at the moment for S&P, but even the S&P is above, you know, the center range for a 4 hourly. You know, we kind of like the way that stocks are positioned generally, and I know that there's a view that stocks are going to come down, and they might. We do have bearish divergence on that daily. The weekly, you know, is looking good. We're above all moving averages, but you know, we are seeing bearish divergence on money flow and RSI. So there is evidence for that also. There is also evidence for a dollar bounce. There is also that evidence there. Although I don't think that this is the one that does it. I believe that we do come down and then sort of find a base around here. And just because it does that doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. We found a base down here in June 2021. We found a significant low down here in January 2021. And that's where the alt season and the markets all ripped, because the dollar was low. Anyway, it's a complicated situation trying to work out these ever-evolving markets that in many ways contradict themselves. But what I would say is, I don't think that there's an enormous amount of things to worry about. Perhaps in the short term we see a little bit further downside, a tiny bit further downside. If we do lose the $108,000, be prepared to go sub 100, but we're not there yet, so we can't say that that's going to happen. I'm just going to put it to you though, if we do lose this, sub 100 to 95,600 is where it is at the moment, that 50 exponential. But I'm not really seeing that right now, although it's a possibility. And if that was a possibility, what would that look like? What would the damage be? It would be a whopping 13%, which from the top to the bottom would be an enormous 23%. Come on. If you've been in altcoins, I'm sure you've seen 23%, you've seen 23% in a day, you know? So, you know, it's not the end of the world, is it? This is actually just pretty normal behavior for Bitcoin. The only problem I got is that this line in the sand, this red line here, signifies the month where generally I would be looking to get out of crypto, and I still am thinking about that, to be honest with you, for safety purposes. But we'll see how it goes. Like I said, part of my overall plan was going to be looking at futures trading throughout September, with a decent portion of the cash that I've realised throughout the bull market. And if it comes to the point where I feel like I generally have to exit some positions to mitigate loss. Well, it's not really loss. Most things are still in profit, but there was some losses in altcoins. I think the only thing that I'm down on, retrospectively now, thinking about entry points, the only thing that I'm down on is SHIB at the moment. But even SHIB, I get confidence through looking at other charts, like Doge, for instance. Doge being the leader of the meme coins. Doge has got a good setup across the board. Golden cross, double golden cross, hit the 50. Sorry, the center of the Bollinger Band, and again right now. So we're sitting at major support right here, looking for what could be a V-shaped recovery back to where it came from, and perhaps a new all-time high. That's what that weekly setup looks like, believe it or not. The daily as well. The daily was a very nice setup the last time we looked at it on the stream. Golden cross, golden cross. There's another one here on the 200 simple. So between 20 and 21, we're sitting at major support that could spring into a V-shaped recovery and continuation. The 4 hourly is probably not very good. No, it's not. It's not very good at all. But you see where I'm coming from, right? So individual altcoins, whether it's XRP, Algorand, Doge, or even Ethereum and Bitcoin, they're kind of sitting around supports at the moment anyway. Supports where you should be looking at taking opportunities from. If your risk tolerance is high enough, you take the plunge on each one in increments. I think there's a lot of fear in the market, and I don't really share that fear myself. Structurally, the market generally looks okay, and allowing it to cool down is absolutely appropriate, especially when you go back in time now. And we had this consolidation. People thought that the cycle was broken and it's all over. But really what we were looking at was just a series of higher highs and higher lows. We've reached a double top here at the moment. Triple top if you consider the total 2's all-time high. There is a lot of bearish divergence on this. It would be a place to consider exiting in order to buy back in hindsight. Hindsight is a good, but he's always a perfect trader, Captain Hindsight. But at the moment, if you're looking for a bounce, the weekly's got it here. If you're looking for a bounce on the daily, well, we've kind of lost it here on the daily. And if we're looking at it on the 4 hourly, I haven't checked this today. The 4 hourly offers a little bit of support from ever so slightly below us. Shave off a couple of billion. So all I'm saying here is that look, the market's not over. The market will never be over. The market gives opportunities up and down and up and down all the time. It's a 24-hour market, constantly always there to give you something. And generally speaking, I'm looking at a bounce from either now, generally, or just a little bit further down, basically. Like I say, I make these videos every morning. It doesn't mean that by the time that the video comes out, the opportunity is present from the second that you watch it. It's close. It's close for a bounce opportunity on pretty much everything that we've seen, really. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Total 2, stocks, even the Dixie. Everything's offering something, and a little bit just needs to continue down a tiny bit more, I think, for these charts, and then a bounce that could even result in the V-shape recovery to new highs for Ethereum and even for Bitcoin as well. The problem is that September for me is a bit of a problemo. So I wish it, I just wish it hadn't happened. But who knows? Who knows? We'll just have to take it one step at a time, bit by bit, day by day. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Feel free to join the Patreon. Links in the description below. Take it easy.